All right, in this webinar, I want to share with you the study habits of successful people. And in course of my teaching, I'll be showing you 7 things that you must start doing from today if you want to develop a consistent reading culture. But before I do that, it's very important that I introduce myself because I know that some persons might be um, getting to meet me for the very first time. So my name is Harry Owanaba. I'm Africa's #1 speed reading expert. And what I do basically is that I train people from all walks of life to read books faster, to understand better, remember more, and execute aggressively. I believe strongly that if I can inspire people to read, their lives will be transformed. And that's why I've committed over 10 years of my life raising lifelong committed learners. All right, so let's dive into it. Study habits of successful people. Before I continue, it's very important that I establish the major reason or objective why we are doing this. Success is predictable. If you do the same thing that successful people do, you will get the same results that they have gotten. And if you do better than what they are doing, you will get better results. So interviews have been conducted, biographies, autobiographies are there, documentaries are there, stating that one of the major secrets or one of the things that successful people do that their counterparts do not pay attention to is their study habits. If you have listened to some great people out there, probably that you admire, if you pay keen attention, most of them always say that one of the competitive edge that they have always had, or one of the things that has helped them on their journey to greatness, is their learning curve. And that's exactly what we want to look at today, because we believe that if we do the same thing that they are doing, we'll get the same results. And if we do better, we'll always get better results. All right, so there's this scary statistics that I need to share with you even before we move on. And if you're in Nigeria, and it's very important that you pay attention to this. A study was carried out by Henry in 2014, and it reveals that more than 40% of adult Nigerians never read a book cover to cover after they finish school. The average Nigerian reads less than one book a year, and only 1% of adult Nigerians read one book a month. That same study shows that about 50 million Nigerians have graduated from high school with poor reading skills. So what this statistics is saying, especially the first part, is simply saying that the average yes, that they had 40% of adult Nigerians never read a book cover to cover after they finish school. So what that simply means is that they were only reading because they were in school and they were reading to pass exams. So immediately they were done with school and there was no need for exam, they never saw any need to even continue reading. And then the average Nigerian reads less than one book a year. So at the beginning of the year, they start a book and they never get to finish it at the end of the year. Only 1% of adult Nigerians read one book a month. If you are here and you have read, say, 2 or 3 books, 3 books in course of this year, you are better than over 90% of adult Nigerians. And then over 50 million Nigerians have graduated from high school with poor reading skills. They were taught how to read and write, but they were not trained on the subject of reading. And it's part of the reason, or the major reason, why I do what I do today. All right. So there are 2 scriptures that I love so much. There are so many books, but for me, the most important book that I read is the Bible. There are 2 scriptures I love from the Bible. That's the first one says, "It is not good also that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. Or it is not good that a man's soul should be without knowledge." Let me explain that a little. Man is a spirit, he has a soul, and he lives in a body. Man is essentially a spirit that has a soul and lives in a body. What we do is that we pay attention to our body at the expense of our soul, and it's not supposed to be like that, because the real you is not the body that we are seeing, but the spirit that is unseen. In your spirit, you are blessed, you are prosperous. For you to manifest those things that you already are in your spirit, in the physical, you need to develop your soul. Your soul is the transition between what you have in your spirit to your body. But the thing is that we don't see our spirit, we don't see our soul. So what we do is that we wake up every day taking care of our body at the expense of our spirit and our soul. How do you take care of your soul? Knowledge. That's what this scripture is telling us. That the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. Personally, for me, what I've done for myself is I've trained my brain to always remind me to take care of my spirit in the morning, my soul before my body. I cannot wake up in the morning and think of having breakfast when I've not fed my spirit and my soul. So you also need to set up the system or structure around yourself that ensures or helps you or pushes you to ensure that every day you wake up, you are paying attention to who you are becoming in your spirit and in your soul. Very important. The second scripture said, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So God wants you to prosper, but He has attached your prosperity to the prosperity of your soul. George Bernard Shaw said that the ability to learn is a gift, the capacity to learn is a skill, while the willingness to learn is a choice. You have the ability to learn. That's why you're on this webinar. You have a brain. God has given you a brain, and one of the major functions of your brain is to help you to learn. The capacity to learn is not a gift, it is a skill. And just like every other skill, it must be learnt and it must be improved upon. That's why I say that learning is good, but learning how to learn is more important. And it has become 21st century most important skill, because with it, you can achieve any other thing. So everybody has the ability to learn, which is a gift, but the capacity is different. Our capacity to learn is different. Maybe hundreds or thousands of people are going to listen to this webinar as time goes on. As you listen, as different people listening, they are not going to get the same results from listening to this. Why? Because they are different capacity. And one of the things that you get to learn by attending a speed reading program is sharpening your learning skill. It is very important. And then the third part of this statement says that the willingness to learn is a choice. I believe you are willing to learn, and that's why you are still here. All right, so talking about study habits, let's do some definition. Study is simply the activity or process of learning about something by reading. So it's an activity, a verb word, something that needs to be done. If you don't do it, it doesn't get done and takes a process. It starts somewhere, it ends somewhere. The activity or process of learning about something by reading. So we all start by just reading and then we end up with studying. There's a difference between reading and studying, and it's there are different things I can say, but the major one is the word understanding. You start by reading and then you end up at studying something. Yeah, so when you say you have studied something, it simply means that you understood what you just learned. Somebody goes to the university and said, I want to go study medicine. And after 6 years or 7 years, the person comes out. The person is saying that I understand the human body, I, depending on the field that the person got involved in. So you study, when you say you have studied something, you are simply saying that you understand. And that's why I used to tell my students that if you're reading and you've not really understood what you have read, it's very important that you ask questions. It's very important that you think, you meditate. It's very important that you do more research, because learning takes place when you have understood what you are learning. All right, habit is something that a person does often in a regular and repeated way. Remember, we are talking about study habits. We have talked about study. Habit is something that the person does often in a regular and repeated way. You bathe every day, you brush every day. There are some things that for you are no-brainers. You just know that you have to do them on a daily basis because of the consequences that comes with them if you don't do it. You brush every day because you know that if you don't, you are going to have a mouth odor and it's going to hinder effective communication. So the same thing too also with reading. We want reading to be a no-brainer to you because you understand the consequences that come with it. That's why we are doing what we are doing. All right, so study habit simply means continuous learning in a strategic way. Continuous learning in a strategic way. There are two keywords here in this definition: continuous learning and strategic. Continuous learning simply means we want it to be something that you do all the time. You do every day, not something you do today and then you're not doing tomorrow. And we want it to be strategic. It means that it has to be planned. It has to be in an organized way. Whatever you don't plan, you don't get the best out of. One of the major reasons why so many people are not reading the way they are supposed to read is because their learning is not strategic. They are not intentional about it. So we're going to talk about it in this webinar. All right, so before we go on, let's talk about why most people don't read. I can give you 20 reasons. I can give you 30 reasons why people don't read, but I've summarized them in three. Every other reason you can think of will fall into these three categories. Number one is a wrong mindset. Number two is pain and pleasure. And then number three is lack of motivation. The major reasons why so many people are not reading is because they have a wrong mindset about the subject of reading. If I'm going to help you to develop a consistent reading culture, I have to first of all work on your mindset. And that's why in my speed reading program, there's a particular course we call um, Limitless. Yeah, in that course, we talk about mindset, motivation, and methods. Yeah, we deal with the wrong beliefs that you have had about reading. You see, people tell you stuff like they don't need to read because they are no longer in school. Reading is boring. Reading is a stressful activity, and so on and so forth. Those are just wrong mindset. Somebody said he's a hustler, and hustlers don't read. Wrong mindset. Yeah, pain and pleasure. Some people have attached pain to the activity of reading instead of pleasure. Whatever you attach pain to, your brain does not even want to get involved in it. Why is it that you can stay on your phone on social media for 2 hours and you are just enjoying yourself from one post to another, from one video to another? Your brain likes pleasure. Why is it that you can be on Netflix or you can be watching a movie 3 hours, 6 hours, and you are not tired? Your brain likes pleasure. You have to program your brain to understand that reading is also a pleasurable activity. Once you are able to do that, your brain looks forward to it. And we are going to talk about how you can do that. The third one is lack of motivation. So many people are not just motivated, they don't see any reasons why they should even get involved in it. Reasons reap results. Reasons reap results. Before you see results in a particular area, or before you see yourself doing something, you must first of all find a very good purpose or reason why you need to get involved in that thing. So if you know where God is taking you, if you have a vision for your life, you will understand that you cannot manifest that vision with the level of knowledge that you have now. Just take, for instance, you say you want to be the president of Nigeria. There's a lot that you need to learn about world economics, about politics, about governance, about people, about culture. There's a lot you need to learn for that to happen so that you don't be the kind of president that is on seat and the country is suffering. So if you have that kind of vision, it motivates you to prepare yourself for it. It is very important. There are so many reasons why people lack motivation, but one of the major reasons is that they lack vision. Very important. All right, so let's talk about good study habits. Everything I've said so far is leading us to this. This is the 7 things that I'm going to share with you that you need to start doing if you are going to start having better results in the area of reading. If you are going to develop a good reading culture, you have to do these things. If you don't do it, every other thing I've said and every other thing I'm going to say after now, it's not going to make sense. So you must be ready to take the required action. Number one is that you must plan specific time for study and you must discipline yourself to stick with it. Everything I'm going to say today, this is the most important one. I'm going to give you 7 points. But if you don't do this one, all the other points will not make sense. You have to plan specific time for study and you have to discipline yourself to stick with it. Nobody's going to do this for you. You have to do it yourself. Check your personality, check your schedule. I'm not, by personality, I can't understand very well. I can't read in the night. That one is totally out of it. I can't read at night before sleeping. I can read in the afternoon, but I get the best out of learning, or I learn better very early in the morning. That's why I utilize 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. for my study. Very important. So you must plan specific time. You must have a time that you have allotted to reading. If you don't do that, you are going to leave it to chance. Once people join my community, I ask them a question. What are you reading this week? Because we always declare a book of the week. What are you reading this week? And what time of the day are we allotted to reading? You see people telling me that, oh, they plan to read so and so book this week, but they don't have a particular time. When that happens, is that what when they do that, they end up not reading anything at all. We live in a very busy, fast-paced world. There are some of us that immediately you get out of your house, you don't have control over your time by virtue of the kind of work that you do. So you must plan it that you are going to do it before you leave the house. Some of us are very busy during the day and then we say we want to read at night. That's the reason why whenever you open a book, instead of reading the book begins to read you because you sleep off. You're very tired. It does not work that way. So you must plan specific time. Check your personality, and then check your schedule to be able to do this. If you plan early morning like myself, 4:30 a.m., if you plan early morning and say for any reason you woke up very late, you can try to do something in the afternoon. So, but ensure try to do this like consistently for 21 days. It will become a habit. 4 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. every day, 21 days, it becomes a habit. This is not to say that even if 4 a.m. is your reading time and during the day you have a spare time, you can't learn something. But ensure that you don't skip that your 4 a.m. It makes a lot of sense. So try not to do too much studying at one time, but try to increase your study time. Especially if you don't have a reading culture, if you have a bad reading culture and you want to start developing it now, don't say, oh, because Coach Harry is reading for 3 hours daily, or this other person is reading for 6 hours, and then you want to start 6 hours. It's not going to work. You start maybe 1 or 2 days and then you will not be able to meet up and you might get discouraged. So start with 30 minutes. Members of my community we do 45 minutes daily reading, and it has been proven that if you can read 45 minutes consistently every day, you finish one book every week. The issue is not in the long hours, it's in your consistency. Consistency is what breeds excellence. So you can try that 45 minutes every day and you'll be able to finish one book in a week. All right, try to study at the same time each day. I think I already mentioned this. If you have chosen 4 a.m., try to stick with that 4 a.m. With time, your body system is going to align with that 4 a.m. Maybe initially you might even be using an alarm clock, but it will get to a time you will not need the alarm. Your system will just wake you up at that particular time so that you can study. And then do away with anything that will distract you. Every one of us we have our own distraction. Mine might not be yours might not be mine. So, but it's very important that you first of all know what your distraction is and do away with it anytime you are studying. When you are studying, your phone needs to be on silence or even airplane mode. You need to be off social media. Some people even put their phone off because of they know the kind of distraction that comes from it. Distraction can also come from people around you. It is very important that you train or you make people around you to understand that anytime you are studying, you are working. Study is equals to work. Study, I repeat, is equals to work. Train people around you to know that so that they can allow you to do what is very important, which is studying. Let me cite an example. There's a place in the Bible, I think Ecclesiastes, it says that if the axe is blunt, that you exert more energy if you are trying to use it to cut something. Let me give you an example. Let me state this example. Two people are giving a task to cut something, maybe a tree, and then they are giving the same kind of axe or cutlass. One person starts cutting immediately, and the other person takes time to sharpen his own axe or his own cutlass. The other person that started immediately might be making progress in the eyes of people, but just give it a little time. Let this guy sharpen his axe. By the time he puts it into the tree, maybe 5 cuts. This other guy is doing has done 100. The thing has refused to come down. This guy would sharpen his axe, 5 cuts, it will come down. How does that relate to what I'm saying? When you are studying, you are sharpening your ability to become more effective and more efficient. That's the right word I'm looking for. When you are learning, you are helping yourself to be able to deliver, become more productive. It is very important that you know that. All right, you can also study in groups. There are people who feel like they only need a group study when they are in school, and so because they are no longer in school, they don't need a group study. It doesn't work that way. If you don't have a good reading culture, you need an accountability group. You need to be in the midst of people that are on the same journey with you, so that sometimes when you are feeling down, you see what other people are doing and it can inspire you. It's very important. All right, so those things are things you need to start doing if you are going to have a good result. One thing I didn't mention there was taking good notes. Was taking good notes. Very important. I don't know why I missed that slide. You must learn how to document your thoughts while you are learning, while you are studying. So many people just feel like they can pick up a book, open it and read it, and then they will understand and remember everything that is inside. It doesn't work that way. Remember, as a speed reading expert, I train people to read books faster, to understand better, remember more, and execute aggressively. So it's not just about reading fast, it's about understanding what you are reading. It's about your ability to remember when you need that information and putting to work everything that you are learning. So you must learn how to document your thoughts strategically so that it can always be a form of referral for you. The thing is that you forget over 70% of what you learn in 72 hours. Everything you are hearing from me right now in this webinar, in 3 days' time, 72 hours, you will forget them. You forget over 70% of them. What can help you to remember most of the things that you are learning today is that you have a note that you can always bounce back to. Yes, just by looking at your notes, it will refresh your memory and you'll be able to remember most of the things that you have learned or you are learning. It's very important that you know that. And please try your best to ensure that you invest in notes. Stop using all those weak wedding souvenirs as your notes. You must invest in notes. Please buy very good hardcover notes. Some are 3,000, some are 2,000, some are 2,500, or even lower than that, but very strong, something that is durable. I have notes that I've been using for over 10 years now. I normally show my students and they are usually inspired anytime that they see it. It's very important. Tomorrow, when you are being called for a public speaking engagement, sometimes all you need to do is just pray, go back to your notes, get the topic, understand your audience, go back to your note, and you see very important points that you can use, plus your own personal life experiences, and you are good to go. So when you hear some people speak, you think that they are genius. It's not like that. We learn from other people, and then we also practice and teach other people. That's how it works. So let's talk about benefits of studying. Studying helps you to experience people, places, and culture without traveling there. There are people that you will never get to meet till you leave planet Earth. You'll never get to meet them, but you can meet them in their books. There are places you might never be able to go to, but you can understand them through books. So it's very important. I've never met with Miles Moreau, but I can say that I know Miles Moreau. I know his thoughts on leadership. I know his thoughts on relationship. I know his thoughts on purpose, on vision. Why? Because I have read his books. When you are reading a book, you are conversing with someone. It's like an interaction is going on. Somebody's talking to you. You are talking back to the person. It's very important. So studying helps you to experience people, places, and culture without traveling there. It also develops your imagination and your creativity. Everybody that you see out there doing something outstanding, go and check their learning curve. Stop shouting, wow. They have the same brain that you have. They've developed their brain, developed their mind. That's why they're able to achieve what they are doing. So studying will help you to improve on your ability to think constructively. Very important. It also make you smart, intelligent, and confident. Smart, intelligent, and confident. That's one other major thing that studying does for you. I don't know if there's anything around you right now that you're not confident about. Maybe you're not confident about having a good relationship. You're not confident about being wealthy and so many other areas. The reason why it is that way is because you lack knowledge in that area. And if you go for knowledge, you find yourself being very confident. Let me share something very personal with you. I'm from a separated home. My parents were separated when I was 5 years old. So, and this is not just about my mom and my dad. I saw this in my family, both from my mother's side and also from my father's side. So when I was of age and I was also thinking of getting married, I began to go into relationship. And the first three relationships I got involved in didn't make any, didn't have any headway. In fact, the three ladies I was involved with always will always come back to me and tell me that they are not interested in going on. I began to think. I also checked where I'm coming from. I said no. If it's even I thank God that this is happening now that Like, we are not yet married. So I need to do something differently if I'm not going to end up with what I'm seeing, in my family. And that led me to serious searching of knowledge. I read over 50 books on relationship, on marriage before I got married. In fact, as a single person, I was already certified as a marriage counselor. I was already counseling people that were about to get married and people that are married as a single person. That's the power of knowledge. Today, I'm very confident that I have, because I'm already married now. We're married for 6 years with 2 kids now. I have one of the most beautiful marriages that you can ever think of in the world. And I have that confidence that my marriage is going to stay forever till death do us part. Why did I share that with you? Knowledge makes you to be very confident. Are you afraid of speaking in public? Go for knowledge. Very important. And then it helps to improve your writing. The future belongs to people that can write very well because we're in the knowledge economy. It's called the information and technology era. So if you can write very well, there's every tendency you become a very successful person. And then it prepares you for the future. I'm not going to waste time on this. I already talked about this. Studying today helps you to become who you need to be in the future. Very important. All right. So before I round up with this, it's very important that I show you the reading habits of some successful people or great people that you admire. Yes, I'm doing this because I want to inspire you. I want to show you what they are doing practically, so that you can, see that everything I'm sharing with you is not just talk. There are people that are doing it, and that's why they are getting the kind of results that they have gotten. So I have over 50 persons that have done a personal research on them about their study habit, but I'll give you maybe about 5 to 7 on this slide. Some of them are people that you already know. So reading habit of successful people, the most successful people all tend to have one thing in common. They read. So this is how some of them incorporate reading into their daily lives. This is Bishop David Oyedepo, preacher, teacher, academician, businessman. He attended a conference at one time, and the students met him and asked him how he was able to quote 68 scriptures verbatim without looking at the Bible. He said, "I don't memorize them, I eat them." You have to learn how to eat books. This man is doing an amazing work all over the world. Yeah, he has churches everywhere, he has businesses, schools, and his universities are one of the top universities, not just in Nigeria but in the world. All those things are not possible with a dull brain. You have to be very sharp, smart to be able to do that. That's exactly why I'm sharing this with you. This man does 3 to 6 hours praying, thinking every day, as busy as he is. So because there are some of us listening to this right now. So I'm a very busy person. That's why I'm not studying. Are you as busy as Oyedepo? Please ask yourself that question. All right, so this is Warren Buffett, the Berkshire Hathaway magnate, reportedly spent 5 to 6 hours every day reading about 5 different newspapers. He combs 500 pages of financial documents and recommends prospective investors to do same. According to him, this is how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. Everybody can do it. All of you can do it, but I guarantee that not everybody will do it. This is Sanusi Lamido, a very he's very in-depth in knowledge if you listen to him. You might not like his style, but you cannot ignore the fact that he's a very smart man. A lover of book, he has over 40,000 of them, including journals, catalog at his expansive library, worth over 200 million naira. According to him, there's no such thing as having too many books. And then we have CEO of Meta, that's Facebook. According to him, he studies a lot about culture, beliefs, histories, and technology. He said books allow you to fully explore a topic and immerse yourself in a deeper way than most media today. I am looking forward to shifting more of my media diet towards reading books. This is the leading figure when it has come to social media. He's telling you that he's shifting more of his media intake or diet to reading more books, while you or most of us are shifting our reading books to media. We need to think about that. And then we have very veteran talk show host Oprah Winfrey. She has a club, a reading club called Oprah Books Club. She said books allow me to see a world beyond the of front porch of my grandmother's shotgun house. It gave me the power to see possibilities beyond what was allowed at that time. If you know her story, she had a very humble beginning. She was raped as a teenager, had a child that later died, and all of those stories. But she grew and she overcame all of those things, just by burying herself in books. All right, so this is Phil Knight, CEO Nike. This man, before you enter into his library, you have to pull your shoe and you have to bow your head. According to him, it is a sacred place, a place where he gets to rub minds with people that has gone ahead of him. That sounds funny, but it's just a mindset. He's trying to tell you that his library area is a very important area. It's not some place you can enter and then just do anyhow. And then we have, of course, the richest man in the world as of today, Elon Musk. Long before he became the CEO of Tesla and even co-founded PayPal, the young Elon Musk was reading science fiction novels for up to 10 hours a day. He also repeatedly read through the entire Encyclopedia Britannica when he was just 9 years old. He credits a lot of books for his vast knowledge about rockets. When they asked him how he knew so much about rockets, he said, "I read a lot of books." Remember, he owns a company that takes rockets to space. Yeah, so you can go and do your own further research on this person, especially maybe Elon Musk being the rich man. You follow him on Twitter, you see him recommending books for people and all of that. This is the way. If you are going to make tremendous impact, this is the way. All right. So lastly for now, I need to you might be asking yourself, okay, I've listened to this webinar. I'm pumped up, I'm gingered up, I'm energized. I want to start reading and all of that. It's not just going to happen automatically. There are two things you can do though. You can decide to just start paying attention to the 7 things that I've said, and you might begin to get results for yourself. Or you can decide to go to someone that can mentor you or someone that can coach you. It is very important. And the second one is always better. It's always better than trying to do things by yourself. So I have a program called the Speed Reading Certificate Program. And I want to just show you the outline, what you stand to benefit if you jump into that program. So we're in knowledge economy, and it's what you know that is going to stand you out. So speed reading is simply the ability to absorb information quickly, and it can change your life positively. It will help you to be more productive at work, develop and maintain good relationship, increase your finances, come out with better grades in school if you're a student, achieve your goals faster, and give you a competitive edge over your peers or competitors. So below is a guide of our 8 days training. It's a 1 month training, but we normally have training sessions 2 times in a week with other activities during the week. So I'm just going to run through the 8 days and then I tell you what is required for you to be part of it. So day one, we look at what your current study habit is, and then we help you to note the areas that you are doing well and the areas where you need to improve. When we say somebody has a good reading culture, we are looking at different things: how the person studies, how the person reads his book, the person's ability to remember, if the person has a personal development plan. There are 6 different areas to look at. There's a questionnaire that you're going to fill. At the end of it, you will see the areas you are doing well and the areas where you need to improve. And then in course of the training, you have to now pay attention to those areas. Yeah, we also talk about study habits of successful people. And then in day one, we now have a reading assignment with an accountability structure. So if you join our platform, from day one, you join from the first week, you declare a book you are going to read. And then there's a summary format that you use to tell us what you are reading on a daily basis. Day two, we talk about the limitless model, how you can make yourself or anyone else do anything or achieve anything in life. We attack wrong mindsets about reading. We talk about how to be motivated, and then we show you the right methods of reading. You can't be reading the same way you were taught to read when you were in nursery school and expect to have a better result. The way we were taught to read in nursery school was necessary as at that time because that's our level of understanding. But there are better ways of reading, and that's why some people have better results than others. You hear somebody telling you that he read 50 books in a year. It's not gimmick. It's not. It's not fluff. people are doing it, and it's something that you can do. I've met students that told me, if when I tell them that they can read one book a week, they laugh me to scorn, telling me that they can't even read one book a year. I'm talking about one book a week. But just by following simple guidelines and instruction, they are able to achieve it. Why? Because I introduce them to better methods. Very important. Then day three, we talk about developing a good reading culture. There's an environment you need if you are going to have a good reading culture. We'll tell you how to set up that environment, how to schedule time, and how to set holistic smart reading goals. Some people don't have study goals. They don't have a plan on how they are going to improve on their learning curve. So we'll talk about that also. Day four, we'll now talk about speed reading. How you two can start reading one book a week, 4 books a month, 48 books every year. I've been doing this for 10 years consecutively. And I have some of my students that are also doing the same thing. So you can also do this. And then day five, we talk about boosting your memory power. It is one thing to learn or to read, it's another thing to remember what you have read. So we are going to help you to learn and retain more information from the books you study, to people's names, faces, to scripts also for public speaking engagement. I know if you're a knowledge person and you are going to be teaching people, there's nothing as good as standing in front of a crowd and just talking from your head. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about strategic documentation of thought, how to take notes and how to make notes. We are going to teach you that there are two different things. There's a difference between taking notes. There's a difference between taking notes and making notes. So we are going to talk about that in course of the training. Day seven, we'll talk about understanding your intelligence. You are intelligent. The question is, how are you intelligent? We're going to help you to discover your intelligence. We're going to help you to understand your temperament and how it affects the way that you learn. And they're also going to help you understand your learning style. There are three different kinds of learning style. We all learn, but not in the same way. So understanding your learning style is a game changer. It's going to help you to know how you learn best. And like I always tell my students, once you have discovered that, you need to be comfortable with learning that way. And then day eight, which is the last day, we talk about dealing with procrastination and distraction. These are the evil twins that stop people or hinder people from being productive. Procrastination, distractions. So many people are chronic procrastinators. But we'll talk about it. How you need to start doing the things that you need to do and how you need to do them efficiently. If this was all, you will have been very good. But there is more. There are bonuses that come with this program. At the end of the program, you are going to be certified a speed reader. I paid $200 for this program. My mentor is Jim Quick, the person that taught me speed reading. You can go check him out now. You see him online. Although as of today, the price has reduced. As at that time, we're having live classes with him, but now everything is pre-recorded and it's on his website. So you just pay and you go and watch. So it might not be $200 now. Maybe it's even less than $100, but it's an online course now. So, but as at that time, we paid $200 to get the certificate that I use for my training today. You're also going to get a copy of my 3 books. I have written 3 books on reading. The first one is Become a Speed Reader. The second one is Roadmap to Academic Excellence. And then the third one is Your Child Can Become an Active Reader. Yeah, so in Become a Speed Reader, I really talk about reading faster, understanding better, remembering more, and executing aggressively. Roadmap to Academic Excellence, I shared tips and strategies in that book that will help students at all levels to excel in their academic pursuits. And Your Child Can Be an Active Reader, I wrote that one directly to parents and teaching them or showing them what they need to do to raise children that love reading. And then there are other 2 books that come with it. This cost about 15,000 naira, but you're going to get it for free if you jump into this program. There is more. I'm also going to give you my top. This is supposed to be 150, not 100 now. I've updated this. My top 150 recommended books from my own personal development library and video podcasts on speed reading. This is worth over 250,000 naira. We are going to get it for free also if you jump into this program. The thing is, I've read over 500 books in 10 years, in over 10 years that I became very intentional about reading. And some of these books are definitely greater or better than others. So I am in the best position to recommend books for you. Instead of you, let's say you want to improve your finances, instead of you just going into the bookstore or going on the internet on Amazon to buy books that you see by yourself, it's always good for you to have somebody that can recommend good books that they have read and have impacted them. So I am the best person that can do that for you. I have compiled 150 books, about 20 on Christian literature, about 20 on finance, 25 on finance, about 15 on relationship, public speaking and communication. I segmented them in different folders. So I'm going to send that to you in a single folder. You open it and then you can always have it's like your own digital library. Anytime you are done reading a book, you need another one. You can always go there, download in your phone, and then you would you will be able to read. If you go to the bookstore to get these 150 books, you are going to spend over 250,000 naira, but you get them free from me. And then lastly, you will get a 45-page document containing the full training manual used for the 8 days worth 200,000 naira for free. I've not seen any coach that does this. I know that there might be people out there that do it, but I've not personally attended any training where at the end of the training, they gave me everything that they use. Everything. I'm doing that because from the statistics that I showed you, it's very important that it is noticeable that just me cannot get the job done. If you attend my training and you implement and begin to get results for yourself, you can also train other people. You can also do that. And I'm giving you that document so that you have content that you can use. Maybe you add your own flair to it or your own personal experiences to it, but you have everything you see on the slide is already documented for you and you receive it at the end of the whole program. All right, so somebody might be asking, how do I get in? What does it involve? You know, the total value of this program, from everything I've shared with you, with all these benefits, worth over 500,000 naira. But I normally charge 10% of it, which is just 50,000 naira. So the big one is this. Guess what? The biggest offer here is that this thing that has already been subsidized by 10% for 50,000 naira, you get access to this program with all of its benefits for less than 5,000 naira. Only 10% of the already subsidized price. This is a no-brainer. It's not something that you need to think about. With 4,990 naira, you are in. You are in. That's for the group coaching session. If you insist that you want me one-on-one, it's going to be 50,000 naira. The same training, but it's going to be just me and you. It's individualized, gives you the opportunity to pick time that suits your schedule, and we do everything video. But the group coaching session, we do it on WhatsApp. We do it on WhatsApp and Google Meet or Zoom. Yeah, we have 6 WhatsApp sessions and just 2 video sessions. But the one-on-one, everything is on video. We choose a time that works best for you, and it's highly individualized. So if you can afford 50,000 naira, I will encourage you to go for that. You're going to get probably better or more attention. In my training, the last training I had for last month, I had about 200 students in the group. So it's not really individualized, but if you jump in, you get the same training. And I do my best to see that I respond to questions that come from my students. I have a lot of content on social media. I even have a YouTube channel. So most of the questions that students have, I recorded responses to them. Sometimes I lead them to go watch. Sometimes I respond, on the platform. So this is a steal. Let me put that word. This is steal for you. It's not something that you need to think about. You just need to jump in. And then what you can do is to make a one-time payment, make a one-time personal investment fee. See it as a personal investment fee of 4,990 naira into the account below. GTB Harry Owanaba 01299 42031. When you are done, you send a proof of payment directly to me on WhatsApp. My WhatsApp contact is 08062158592. Yeah, so that will be it. This training is for everybody: business personnel, top executive, parents, educators, students, politicians, pastors, everyone that would like to increase their reading pace and get more work done. My name is Harry Owanaba and I remain Africa's #1 speed reading expert. Nice having you on this webinar. See you on the other side.